Whew, wow, been a crazy couple of, a year, but, you know, I really should start working on another video. You know, my viewers have become accustomed to such prompt uploads like I've always provided. Pause for laughter. I don't think I was supposed to say that part out loud. But what could I possibly talk about? You know, what's the point in being so negative at a time like this when the world is in such a state of chaos? Oh, My Neighbor's a shitty movie! Oh no! An awful movie where nobody tried. That's it. I'll do something where nobody tried, because if the stakes going in are that low, then it really doesn't matter. Does that justify it? Yeah, I guess. Yes, you all knew it was coming, or at least you did if you watched my Fright Night video. You should go do that, because there's some stuff in this video that might not make sense. You might get a little confused if I just randomly start talking about a violent double murder that ended Carol Co. Pictures. So go check that out, you won't be confused. Welcome to my channel, where I ask you to watch videos specifically to become educated about horrible tragedies in the entertainment industry. So a short little rundown of that video to sort of explain what I'll be doing here. I talked about Fright Night. There's, you know, I talked about all the films. There's 2 original films, and then there's a remake, and then there's something else. Something eviler. I didn't talk too much about it specifically so I could talk about it here. That's right, we're talking about Fright Night 2, New Blood. This movie is utterly confusing in its existence. Well, I guess you could say that every Fright Night movie has been a little weird in its existence, and some of that has been,
the infamous Menendez brothers, who together murdered their parents in their lavish Beverly Hills mansion.
Unfortunate. Then we get some things like this, where it feels like the motivating force was laziness. I can't even say this was made out of a desire for money, because, really? Was Fright Night such a lucrative cash cow? I'd say financially speaking, at best, the movies have done alright. All things considered.
Just a normal kid.
Oh, Eric, you're a normal kid who killed your parents.
Yeah, I know.
It's not like there's a built-in fan base for this. I mean, I love all the Fright Night movies, and I didn't even know this came out till like 3 years after the fact. There's clearly an attempt to reel in somebody, though, because, I mean, it's called Fright Night 2, but this isn't a sequel to anything. It's not a sequel to the original 1985 movie, it's not a remake of its sequel, and it's not a sequel to the 2011 movie. It is not the same actors or creative team. It's put out by a different studio, and it features characters who died in the 2011 film, and it doesn't remark upon their return. That's right, this isn't a sequel, it's yet another remake of the original Fright Night.
Disappointed!
My neighbors are gonna think I'm committing a crime. I'm surprised they don't already. One wasn't enough. They didn't need to remake Fright Night, but they did, and it was pretty good. But why try again? What else could you possibly want to add with this? I think I'm beginning to understand.
Blood.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I'm starting to understand now. Hold on. Who wrote this? Oh, yeah, okay, let's just make a little change there. And there we go. And you sit in the corner and think about what you've done.
What is a man? A miserable little...
This movie is distinct in a few ways. For starters, it takes place in Romania. A unique decision for a vampire movie.
Was it worth it? No, it wasn't.
The vampire neighbor angle is replaced by a vampire professor, who is also the main character's neighbor. Well, you kinda tried. There's also a big change in that all the characters are trash cans and I hate them. No disrespect to these actors, but you're all terrible in this movie and you should be ashamed of yourselves. Obviously, that's not on them. They're being directed a certain way and, you know, they have to say terrible lines. Jamie Murray's pretty good. She's the only person whose name I could remember, which is not something I could say about Eyeballs, Drunk Uncle, guy I went to community college with who would never shut the fuck up, and Crispin Glover. Seriously, is Crispin Glover a vampire? Did he like regain his youth to do this movie? Here's a recreation of my reaction the first time that this character showed up on screen. Oh, that must be the evil egg character.
Charlie, we're not
What?
gonna do
That's Charlie? In what world?
Wonderful news! You've been named Time Magazine's most important person to ever exist!
Ah, yes. I remember these things clearly. I didn't just make it up to make the flashback more interesting.
Good for you!
Who was I talking to? So, this isn't going to be like a huge deep dive or anything like that. I just kind of want to talk about a few things in this movie that irk me and maybe talk about why I love the other movies so much. You know, the ones that aren't this.
Welcome to Fright Night for real, bitch!
Well, guess I'm gonna have to indulge in the time-honored YouTube reviewer tradition of substance abuse to get through a bad movie. Luckily, my substance of choice is a gun.
It is such a good night to kiss.
Hi there. Right about now you're probably saying to yourself, geez Andy, that's a dark way to start the video, and you're right. Let's take a look at this opening scene, because I find it really interesting. When you're making a horror movie, it's common to start with a cold open that introduces us to a character that's pretty much only there to die. It's sort of meant to be a creepy little short, and you know, pretty much like every horror movie ever made does this. And though the original 2 Fright Night movies didn't do this, the remake did, so I guess this one has to do it as well. Wait a minute. Is this a remake to that movie specifically? Did they not know that the 2011 one was also a remake? Actually, bold of me to assume that anybody working on this has ever seen a movie before. Keeping in mind that this is the first thing the audience is going to see, it's a good idea to put a lot of time and effort to it. Luckily, this movie... Listen, I'm trying to be nice, movie, but you're making it really hard.
You gotta love that the first instinct was not to drive away, but instead to set her own car on fire.
She's like, I can buy another one. This whole scene seems like they added it at the last minute. It's shot and edited so weird. There's a dog just walking around in the background. There's a CGI shot that is so bad that every single time I have watched this, I forgot which part of the body is supposed to be regenerating here. Here, let's see if you can guess. Lock in your answers now. Did you guess correctly? Then congratulations, you win nothing.
You stole fizzy lifting drinks!
Also, I have a small note about this. In recent years, we've seen kind of an update to the whole vampires can't be shown in mirrors thing. It's commonly translated to, now vampires can't be shown in cameras. But I don't know if that really follows through logic-wise, because old mirrors, the whole reason for that is that they had like a lining of silver behind them. Maybe that's why they're reflective, I honestly don't know. Fucking mirrors.
How do they work?
So in theory, they would probably show up on camera, but also keep in mind that none of this is real and it doesn't matter. None of this is real and it doesn't matter, cliche.
It is such a good night.
Fright Night 2, alright. I mean, it's the second remake, so I guess that counts. Whose idea was this? Then, not a lot of interesting stuff happens. Considering this next portion is meeting the main characters, that's pretty worrying. Crispin Glover is upset because he recently broke up with Eyeballs, and he keeps trying to hand her stuff, but she won't take it. And she just keeps walking away? Don't take it personally, Mr. Glover. I don't think she knows where she is or what's going on. Here's our Evil Ed character.
Oh, relax, Charlie. You know what they say?
We're in Romania.
I mentioned in my other video that Evil Ed's an intentionally annoying character, but this one is by far the worst. But I guess that fits, because this is also the worst Charlie, the worst Amy, the worst Jerry, and look, we even got the worst Peter Vincent. And look how naturally they introduce him.
Hey, wanna know what I'm watching? I'm watching an old episode of Fright. Monster Hunter Extraordinaire, Peter Vincent. He who has no fright of the night. He's in Romania as we speak, filming a new episode.
One thing I do have to say about this movie is they don't waste any time getting to the good stuff. Just a few minutes in, they're already setting up all the vampire lore. So that's pretty cool. Oh, wait. The original movie got to that stuff sooner because they didn't waste their time on an unintentionally funny opening.
I am the god of hellfire, and I bring you fire.
So I guess it's a wash. Oh well, Fright Night 2, I tried. Or, well, I tried about as hard as you did. I am 200% sure that this movie was only made as an excuse to film a bunch of lesbian makeout scenes. Makes sense. We've had guy vampire who seduces women. We've had a woman vampire who seduces men. We've had a different guy vampire who seduces women. And now we have a woman who seduces other women. We've got the whole set now.
Hey, what about, I don't know, a man vampire that goes after other men, or a bisexual vampire, or oh gee, I don't know, a transgender non-binary vampire.
According to Hollywood, we got the diversity basis covered. We got 3 straights and a gay. That's better than Twilight's record.
What are you listening to?
Kicking it to a bad jam, kicking it to the scat man. She's a real beauty.
Also, this scene kind of fucks up the entire point of this character's vampirism, but I'll talk more about that when it becomes a bit more relevant later. So let's keep going to get to that. And definitely not because I want to get this over with as soon as possible. Please help me. So that's pretty simple. Kid knows his neighbor's a vampire, but he can't tell anybody because who would ever believe him? Oh, sorry, I started describing the original movie again. In this one, it's very different. It's, kid knows his neighbor's a vampire, but he can't tell anybody because who would ever believe him? But there's a twist this time in that the vampire is also his professor. Dun dun dun! Also, she really went all out for this class. Have you ever been in a class where the professor enters to a fucking WWE intro? This is fucking badass, but I would make one small change to the music choice. Lady in Red! And then that scene just ends. They don't even try to act like it had any other purpose other than wah wah. Your lesbian vampire neighbor's also your professor. What a wacky semester this will be. I'm trapped in a cartoon! Also, this may be a good time to finally bring this up. What fucking school sends kids to Romania for a semester? I went to a pretty big college. I don't want to give anything away. So let's just say it rhymes with Smemple and it's in Smiladelphia. I'm having a stroke. We had all kinds of options of places to go when I was in college. You know, we could go to LA, we could go to London, we could go to Japan, but you know where they did not have a program set up? Well, lots of places actually. It was mainly just those areas that we were allowed to go to, but they didn't have one in fucking Romania. Hey kids, do you want to go to that cold gray nothing that is most closely associated with impaling people through the ass? Has Romania done anything of note since then? You know what? Let's look it up. Let's look up the Tourism of Romania page that exists on Wikipedia for some reason. Nah, that doesn't sound right. Let's fix that. There we go. Might be a good time to let everybody know I've never been to Romania. I'm sure it's a beautiful country. Just going there has never presented itself to me, but I guess I need to transfer to whatever college let George McFly in to get there. So I didn't go into this before, but it's a running thing in all the Fright Night movies that there's some kind of show called Fright Night, within the movie. And in the first two ones, it was one of those Elvira, Joe Bob Briggs types things, but in the remake, it was a Vegas stage show. Nice touch. In this one, they do something a little different. They just make it Ghost Adventures. It's just Ghost Adventures. You turn Peter Vincent into Zach Baggins.
I find myself all alone inside the infamous Pornaya Castle.
But we seem to have a little problem. We can't find Mike. The only thing that we can find is a donkey. A donkey. Don't ever lunge a donkey's ass.
I can't wait to go to Peter Vincent's Haunted Museum. Fun fact, the combination of words Zach Baggins Haunted Museum makes me laugh every fucking time without fail. Yeah, why try? Just use the title treatment for the movie. Who gives a shit? Also, the scene is confusing because Peter gets angry, yells at his crew of like 40 fucking people who are there to do God knows what on this show. The host is recording himself. Who are you people? He yells at them for getting in the shot, and then they all get into the shot, and then he starts hitting record again with this doofus standing right there. What the hell was that? This movie could have been just that much better by not having this terrible scene where nobody tried. I'm pretty sure this is the first and only take they had. No, it's fine. Come on, I gotta get this whole thing shot before lunch, and then I gotta go off to shoot a second remake of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Remember when they remade that? Because I do for some reason.
You ever tried to take a rib away from a black man?
Yeah, fuck it. This is a review of Guess Who now. Needed more Bernie Mac, and so did the world. Anyway, Vampire Tour. The famous Romania Vampire Tours. These are a thing, but honestly, I'm gonna say that the writer just rolled the dice on this. I've mainly seen snippets of Romania's Wikipedia articles, and I'm already convinced that I know more about the place than the guy who wrote this movie. It's in, this region, right? This line occurs.
Elizabeth Bathory, a.k.a. Countess Dracula.
Which, when we were originally watching it, caused Steve to say this. What? And rightfully so. Could you imagine if the original Fright Night movies just stopped dead to be like, hey, this vampire we're fighting, he's a Dracula. The vampire or the guy? Sure. Actually, even if they did, it would make sense there. Those are all horror comedies, but this movie isn't supposed to be funny. Or, well, according to Wikipedia it is, but actually that's a mistake. Let's fix that while we're here. And there we go. Charlie sees the teacher blowing a guy, and this is the only guy we see her seduce in the movie. Did you notice that they didn't show anything over, say, like PG-13? Yeah, keep that in mind. Jump scare. Oh god, how did they know I was afraid of arms? Oh no, even worse, it's this guy! And then the movie decides to get flashy, and then it's time for class. This shot makes me feel like I'm about to slide off a cliff. Please make it stop, I'm so anxious. Oh yeah, and then this guy slowly realizes how bad the movie is. This scene is kinda cool, and then it isn't because it's just a dream, turns out. You actually don't notice at first because you accept a string of incidents that don't make sense as, well, the plot of the movie at first. Maybe the whole thing's a dream. Actually, is it? Is the whole thing a dream? Please, can I wake up?
Are we keeping you from your beauty sleep, Mr. Brewster?
No one finds it weird that she's memorized everybody's names in the span of, what, like a day? How many people are in this class? I've been in a lot of lecture hall classes like this, and I'm honestly telling you, I probably couldn't pick anyone else that was there out of a lineup, including the professors. I almost wrote, that's a joke CinemaSins would say, but I'm not convinced that CinemaSins has ever been through any kind of education system.
We're idiots.
This guy looks so genuinely disappointed in every scene he's in. Is that the director? Is he coming to grips with all this? This scene's a mess. I know that adult is the chaperone, but who's this other guy? Is that another chaperone? Is he a student? I can't tell if that's an adult or if he's one of those guys who, like, you know, every time you saw him on campus, he kind of looked like an old man, but he was a student. You know, I don't want to name any names, but you know who you are, Kevin. Or I don't know if maybe he's just an older man and he's dressed appropriately. Why is he here? Ed just will not shut the fuck up. Why is anybody laughing? All she said was, did we interrupt your beauty sleep? Why is that funny? Is it because he's hideous? Because I don't think he's hideous. I think he's beautiful. And you know, if he was here right now, we could both smoke a cigar. It'll get you real far. And then, you know, I'd probably ask him how he got to my house, and he'd be like, oh, well, I was walking on the ground, I didn't make a sound, and I turned around and I saw a clown. He looks like Crispin Glover. That's the joke. Also, Crispin Glover's a weirdo who makes clown songs. Thank God he was not born in the internet age, because if he was born, like, around now, I can guarantee you he'd be that guy who makes those fucking Pennywise raps. Was I talking about a movie? Crispin catches up with eyeballs. Amy. Her character's name is Amy. Want to do the funny internet commentary, haha man thing, give them funny names, woohoo, yeah, but you know, it's annoying, I'm annoying. Why are you here? Why are you watching this? There's so many better things you could be watching, like...
If I never saw Animaniacs before and I saw this show first and you told me, who's the leader? I say Dot. Oh, and on top of that, she's no longer cute, she has wit.
It's probably better that you're here. He tries to give her flowers and she does what she does best.
I mean it.
These scenes are hilarious, and I don't think they're supposed to be that funny. Like, I know they're supposed to be humorous, but I'm mainly just laughing because everybody just starts acting like an NPC that's disengaged from the main quest. Warning, here's the best actor in the movie.
Is everything okay?
Yes, sir. Everything okay. I think somebody just went missing.
And the Oscar goes to...
Yes, sir. Everything okay.
I think that's just the lady who worked at that desk in real life. Crispin, yeah, he's still Crispin because it's fun to say. But anyway, he witnesses Jerry go out on a late night hunt, looking all young and hot and stuff, which is interesting because in a matter of minutes she transforms into this old witch decoration. I guess this is supposed to be the form that she, you know, attacked the lady in at the beginning of the movie. Jump into the fire! But really, it happens that quick. Just, oh god, I gotta get some hooker blood in me pronto, or else I'm going into raisin mode quicker than you can finish your goddamn Quibi. Or sooner than Quibi sank into the ocean. We see all this because Crispin breaks into her apartment. Should probably be minding his own business, but this is where the remake map says we gotta be, so whatever. A couple of things happen here. One, we get this shot that actually looks really cool, but I'm gonna go ahead and put that on whoever color graded the movie. You got me. I like intense reds and blues, clearly. But also, this poor woman has to get naked for this shitty movie. And I think it's a good time to finally bring this up, that there are like maybe 5 female characters in this movie, and that might sound pretty good for a movie that doesn't have that many characters, but keep in mind that includes this woman who just got naked and drained of blood, that woman who died in the cold open, that woman who we only ever saw in her underwear, then Jerry and Amy. So that first woman to die is the only one who got to escape the movie without being naked or in some kind of wet clothing or lingerie. Great job! Trust me guys, this was a passion project, not for Fright Night, a different kind of passion, the kind you see when straight men reply to tweets from women, or the kind of passion Movie Bob has for badgering women that don't want to talk to him. That was the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen. Something about this whole movie just makes me feel gross. Like, yeah, I'm trying not to rail too hard on movies that I don't think deserve it. You know, I think that line of funny criticism and harping on nitpicks that don't really matter too much, I think that's a tough balance to find, and I don't really want to just rail on something that doesn't deserve it just to churn out content. You know, I don't want to start losing my hair. I don't want to start filming in front of a blank wall. I don't want to start wearing a blazer. I don't want to change my name to Doug Walker. The point I'm trying to make is that I'm making fun of this because there is like a disgusting sort of angle to it. CinemaSins, Doug Walker, and Movie Bob all name dropped within minutes of each other. This video is cursed. Anyway, she needs to bathe in blood to stay young, or just drink it, because that seemed to work fine in the beginning, actually. But then she eventually finds Charlie.
So glad you could come, Charlie.
But he just narrowly escapes by taking a picture of her naked body. I think that's actually the director's phone. Then exactly what you would expect happens. He tries to tell the police, but nobody believes him because he's a fucking idiot who said that he was chased by a vampire instead of saying, hey, I just witnessed a real murder that you will find evidence of if you come to where I am right now. Trust me, Crispin Glover, Back to the Future 1, and neither of the sequels, and they used my likeness to recreate my character, and I sued them. Charlie goes to warn Amy, but alas, Cherry is already there, because I guess nobody questions or bats an eye when a professor's just hanging out with a student in their hotel room. I feel like this is some kind of illegal, but she proves she can't be a vampire because she touches a Bible, no problem. But, you know, then she shows her messed up hand right in front of Amy, but thankfully her perception's at -5, so she doesn't notice. The momentum comes to a full stop so that Charlie and Egg could do a Babadook for a little bit. The art to this section's actually pretty cool, and I hate that because I hate when anything cool shows up in this movie because, I mean, come on. Like, put effort into the whole thing, not just one scene. But we also find out that in addition to being Vlad the Impaler and Elizabeth Bathory, she was also on the Hindenburg and murdered the Black Dahlia? Is this in bad taste yet? So they decide they need to go find Peter Vincent because he's filming in town and also it happened in the other movies. So that's what they gotta do. And you know, that's actually a good change of scenery from this boring room. And thankfully Peter Vincent is located in a strip club. You ever have those days where it's like, why even try? They try to get his help, but he refuses, so they say they'll pay him and he agrees. It's kind of like the process of getting everyone to be in this movie. And, you know, fittingly, for this movie, they take Peter Vincent, one of the most interesting characters from any of the adaptations, and they make him the most boring one. I'd show you some footage of him, but I do not care enough to actually look back at it and start editing it, because I will fall asleep. You know, that's just great, just ruin another character. The most distinguishing factor about this guy is he looks like somebody that would drunkenly piss on you at an Offspring concert. Then, immediately after that, they meet up with Amy and get cornered by Jerry on a train, and they even rip off something from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. This movie does not waste any time, and yet it feels like it takes an eternity. Ed dies, and this is the longest he's lived in any of these movies, and yet this is the least I've cared when it's happened, so good job on that. Peter dips, and Jerry realizes that she needs Amy's blood because she's the virgin?
She's the one.
Was this the first virgin to come to Romania in ages? Normally when vampire movies do this, it's like, oh, you remind me of my lost love. I must have you. You're the target of my affection now. Or something like that. It's not like, oh, finally, a virgin. Does Romania not have hospitals? Just go up and drink all the babies. Go to an MRA convention, Magic the Gathering tournament. There are other places to find virgins, is the main point I'm trying to make. Then she goes full Hellboy.
Red Bean, stop!
Oh no, she's got Amy. We gotta get her back because... So Peter goes back to the strip club to get wasted, or this is just what the actor was doing, I honestly can't tell, and then Ed shows up to kill him. And listen, I know we've had some generous exceptions for what counts as a cross in a vampire movie over the years, but this has to be one of the stupidest things I've ever seen.
Come here. Kiss the cross, bitch!
Our brave hero forcefully giving Ed his salty breast milk. Alas, vampires are allergic to such pleasures. Hello, I'm Marlin Milkman, the head of the Got Milk Corporation. Gone in a bit of an odd direction in our latest ads. Jerry takes Amy to the Blood Shack. It's a little old place with a bloody river. Blood Shack Baby! The Blood Shack Baby! Is this a fucking Chamber of Secrets? Who built this? Hey, you notice there's always these guys standing behind us with spears and asking when the quote-unquote river of blood will be finished? What's that all about?
Sorry, but the boss said if we talk to each other, we're getting thrown in the river of blood quicker.
Quicker? Charlie tries to get Peter's help again, and he doesn't want to because, I mean, just look at him. He's the worst, and he has the heart of a coward. And he's dressed like an idiot because that's comedy. So Charlie goes to fight Jerry alone, and they also do that thing that vampire movies sometimes do where it's like, oh, if you kill the master vampire, you can like turn their victims back if it's before sunrise, after they've been turned or whatever. So you know, it's good that there's actually hope for Evil Ed, or you could just have a dumb fight scene and horrifically murder him. You know, that's fine too. It's fine, don't worry about it. Actually, that would probably be better if it happened to all the characters in this movie, because that would at least be memorable. Like, that's fucking gnarly, look at that. Oh, and meanwhile, Jerry is doing what she came here to do, getting naked and leading Amy into the blood river, because of course she is. Why is she naked and Amy isn't? Better yet, why is anybody naked at all? I don't know. I can't tell you. Look, I'm not gonna act like I'm not attracted to Jamie Murray, but this just feels weird. This whole thing must have been like a really weird set.
A vampire movie, what's that?
Oh, blood. Blood drinkers, like the blood lady who bathed in blood. Wait a minute. Bathed, baths, blood, nudity. I've got it all figured out. And then shit just goes nuts. The next couple minutes is just people being thrown around and drinking blood, and Jerry shows up in clothes, which is a nice change of pace. And then, you know, Charlie stakes himself in the heart, and this makes Jerry angry because it makes Amy die for some reason. My notes here just say, cool shot, fuck you. Don't worry, it quickly gets ruined by bad CGI. He heals because who needs rules anymore, and then Jerry tells Amy to kill him because... Jerry tells Amy to kill him because... Wait, what? Wasn't that what was presenting an issue several seconds ago? Was this written by fucking Guy Pearce's character, Memento? Now that the pesky issue of Charlie is being dead is solved, we can go ahead and make Charlie dead. But then Peter Vincent shows up to stake Jerry and say the thing.
Welcome to Fright Night. For real.
Welcome to Fright Night.
Welcome to Fright Night.
Welcome to Fright Night for real.
But then, of course, they gotta ruin it with the obligatory bitch. That's actually a great summary of the movie, you know, take good thing, make worse. But Jerry's not dead, and she wants him to know what her favorite computer game is. Mystery. Good choice. I'm more of a Lego Island man myself, but I think a close second would be that game Pissed, where John Goodman sings a song.
Yes, I am one unhappy dude. I'm pissed.
Did I mention this just so I could play that clip in every single video I make from here on out? No. I don't need to justify the decisions I make in this show. It's just a random collection of references that I've tricked myself into thinking is a personality. Everybody hurts. She gets naked again, but it's okay this time because she looks like Mitch McConnell, so I really don't think this was made for anybody's spank bank. This form isn't any more difficult to defeat, by the way. They just break all the windows to let the light in like every other Fright Night movie except for the second one. I mean, that is ultimately what still kills the vampire, but you know, it's like a little more creative than that, and Fright Night 2 is really good, guys. Please go watch Fright Night, free on YouTube, or pay $100 for DVD, whichever make you work best for you, make you happy, please. It's finally over. They even have some chummy banter like they've known this man for more than a couple of hours. Then we finally get the payoff to Amy's constant rejection of Crispin's tokens of affection when she finally accepts this cross that Crispin gives to her. But, you know, maybe she'll even maybe she'll even accept a ring one day, or maybe that won't happen. Maybe they'll, you know, sort of drift apart, but have to kind of stay in each other's lives due to this shared traumatic experience they've had that no one else will ever, you know, be able to believe. And they'll kind of have that binding them, but aside from that, they realize, you know, they were kind of young and they were kind of dumb, and, you know, they really don't work together as people, and they kind of really can't stand to be around each other. But, you know, they had to go into it and rush into it. You know, they have a kid, and now they got that to worry about. And then, you know, you got this whole thing with alimony payments and child support, and, you know, it's just a mess. And, you know, maybe that's going to be what befalls them. And, you know, that's a little dark to think about. So, ooh, nice, kissing, fun, great, get more blood in your mouth. That's neat. But don't worry, there's still a little hope. Maybe we'll get some great title music, like in all the other Fright Night movies. Track 3 off the 100 Film Sound CD. Yes, that's a classic, a fine vintage year of a nice 2009. This was the closest thing I had to fancy drinkware. So that was bad movie. Out of all the Fright Night movies, it's the only one I don't enjoy, but there are a few things to highlight. I do think there are a lot of great shots in there. Looking up the production history of this movie, it seems like it was really hurried along, so the fact that they actually put effort into at least a few things is kind of neat. Like that goofy vampire suit at the end. Like, they didn't need to go all out for that, but they did, and I'm thankful that they did, because Jesus Christ, that's funny. There's some good things about this movie, especially for a rush job. You know, the actors are doing the best they can with absolutely nothing. It's funny, you know, I was actually reading that when Jamie Murray got the script, she didn't know if it was supposed to be funny or scary, so she said she watched the 2011 Fright Night to get a better idea of that, and she said she like understood it better after that, but I guess she missed the part where this is not a sequel to that movie and it's just another remake. Like, do you think she was just watching there after having read the script and going, huh, you know, a lot of this does seem familiar, so I think I'm understanding how this could work. Oh, you want me to be in another one? Oh. I don't think anybody had any pretensions about this. You know, it's a paycheck, and I think most people working on this would classify it as such. It just sucks that it happened to a franchise that I really liked. And if, you know, if we could go out on a high note, I'd say that the other Fright Night movies are well worth checking out. So go check those out, or maybe check out my video if you're unsure and, you know, you don't know if you'd be into them, because, you know, I wanted to start doing more franchise retrospectives like that, so maybe go check that out and let me know if you enjoy it, and you can get more information about the franchise along the way. And, you know, it's good to talk about the things I like from this instead of just this particular bad thing. I do like focusing on the positive lately. And here's something I found out since I worked on that video. The writer-director of the original 1985 Fright Night has got the rights back to the franchise, and he said he's working on a new movie that will pick up directly after the original 1985 film. So, you know, that's kind of neat. So, you know, go watch those movies and maybe don't watch this one, or maybe watch the other ones first and then watch this one, because you'll know that, hey, this idea can be done well. And, you know, and thanks so much for watching this. And I guess all I have to say is you should go have yourself a spooky Christmas. Wow, you made it to the end card. Thanks so much. Hey, if you liked the video, be sure to leave a like on it down below. You know, that really helps me out. And, hey, while you're down there, maybe leave a comment, maybe a suggestion for a future episode, or, you know, maybe just something you'd like to let me know about the video. Really love hearing from you guys. Subscribe if you like the stuff I'm making. Head over to my Patreon if you want to help me make it, and you could also get your name on this end screen here like these wonderful people. Thank you so much, guys. I love that you're supporting me and keeping this stuff flowing. Here are my socials. Go check out the podcast I do with Steve. We upload that pretty regularly, and we're even going to be uploading our little commentary of this movie, so be sure to go over there and check that out when it's up, and let us know what you think about that. Thanks so much for being along this ride for me, guys. I hope you have a great holiday. I wish you all the best, and I hope that a random train does not materialize in your house and eliminate your entire family. It's been known to happen. Sometimes it's a stampede of horses. But anyway, I will see you in the next video. Bye!
Great news! Time Magazine has just awarded you with the... Oh, fuck.
Ugh, yeah. Freedom. NRA. It's a bunch of assholes. There's so many better things you could be watching, like Onishi. It's probably better that you're here.
As soon as you said his name, the sirens started.
They're just listening, like, there he is.